Good afternoon, this is Jeff with Sewer Tech Northwest. Today we're at property address 212 West Illinois Street here in Newburgh. We're up on the rooftop going through a 4-inch cast iron vent. We're going to check the overall condition and serviceability of the sanitary sewer line. Currently have water running. Once we get down to the bottom of the vent here, we're going to zero out the camera counter, which it looks like is right here. Now we might still be dropping down here. Alright, we're going to zero out here. Now I'm going to keep the camera moving fairly quickly here to get through the twists and the turns. Transitions here at 20 feet over to concrete pipe. This appears to be 6-inch in diameter. I may have to do some of the reviewing of this video at home. It's a very, very awkward rooftop. And the sun's out and it's very hard to see the screen here. And we're going to turn the water off here for a moment, let it drain out. We're going to see if maybe we can see it clean out. My concern here is with the awkwardness up on this rooftop is just trying to locate any issues we have. It's a very, very tricky, sketchy, dangerous roof to be on. So if I have to do any more than about one trip up and down this rooftop here, we're going to try and move down to the ground if we can. Okay, we're going to leave the water off here until we need it again. We've got a few concrete joints here that look like they're letting dirt slowly but surely come into the line. You'll see out the pipe joints, you'll see a bunch of junk kind of protruding out from the concrete. And what usually causes that, believe it or not, are earthworms tunneling in and out of the sewer pipe. They push dirt in. Now we're putting water back down the line here to help get the camera out. I want to point out we've got a lot of aggregate showing through. Got a lot of these. I can't tell if it appears to be excess pipe grout, although this is moving here. Not entirely sure what this object here in the pipe is exactly. It could be excess pipe grout, it could be part of the line as well. It's broken free. This particular thing here dangling from the side of the pipe there, for the most part, is looking like cobwebs, because you can see how they're that bleached out white color. Sometimes you'll get roots come in and then the spiders will build webs over the top of them. That one's a really hard one to tell there. But the majority of what we just saw there is spider webs, if not all of it. It's a spot there I'd have to review at home where I can get a look at the screen easier. Similar situation here. This looks just like we got a bunch of cobwebs there. There are a lot of lumps and bumps in the flow line though, and I can't, we'll have a better look at that on the way out. It's either excess pipe grout or it's the actual pipe itself that's coming free from the line. Alright, we are now in terracotta clay. I'm going to locate, see where we're at here. All right, located the camera head here. We're right out in the middle of the street. We're very close to the main lateral here. I'm running low on camera cable. I should have brought my 200-footer up here, but anyway, we're probably about 15 to 20 feet out into the roadway, which is out into city responsibility at this point. Now we're going to go ahead and reel back. Hey, so right up ahead here at about 77 feet, you can see that there is water pouring into the sewer line. This is obviously way out from the house. We just don't get a great view of that there, but it does look like an actual circular opening into the sewer line. So it would appear that this has a party line connection, as best as I can tell here, coming in from the... If you're standing in the street looking at the front of the house, that is tying in from the right side, or to the right of this home here. So that's a spot there I would recommend contacting the city about to make sure that that is a conforming connection. Every city's different on party lines, so I highly recommend contacting the city to find out if they're okay with the configuration there. You can see we've got active water flowing through there. And it being summertime with no rain, it would be highly unlikely that that was rainwater or groundwater coming through the line, especially we've had this thing completely drained out here up until that water started running. So I would look into that, make sure the city is going to allow that to exist that way. And this here I'm butted up against is an example of what I was mentioning earlier, how we've got, looks like excess pipe grout in the line there. Another spot there. And the issue with stuff like this is it can catch debris as it comes down the line, especially when that is sitting in the flow line there. Now we're back at this spot here with the cobwebs. Looking up at the joint there, I am not seeing an obvious root strand protruding from the joint. If you look where all that stringy stuff is originating from, there is not an obvious, and roots are generally going to be brown or tan in color. Everything I'm looking at there appears to be bright white bleached out cobwebs. So as best as I can tell, it does not appear that that is a root intrusion. Now we've got another obstruction here in the flow line. This is almost, I mean, this legitimately looks like it's either concrete or pipe grout, and that's right in the middle of the flow line. So it's could be a significant obstruction to flow coming down the line, because everything coming down the line has to run into that there and try and get past it. It's hard to tell if we have pieces of the pipe wall busting free or if it's pipe grout, but you can see how we're moving. This thing right here kind of wants to move around. I'm not seeing any obvious spots where the pipe has broken or anything of that nature. This particular spot here, the pipe is looking, the flow line is looking irregular in its shape. You can see that there. I'll kind of run up against this one more time here. You can see how there's a trough there, kind of an odd shape. That should be a nice smooth circular. My camera's bumping into that there. This is a spot here where you could actually have concrete that's broken free from the actual pipe wall itself. Another example here. Now with the amount of aggregate rock showing through, it would not surprise me if that kind of stuff is happening, but you can also have pipe grout that breaks free too. Either way, it's not something you want in the middle of the flow line. We've got a small belly here. This is only about 1/16 of an inch of standing water. We have no debris collecting at it. That's not something that concerns me there. But right here we have a rough spot at the joint. That I would imagine is where some grout used to be, and it's broken free. Now, the hard part here with a line this old and the amount of aggregate that's showing through is it's rather risky to start trying to jet the thing out. You can end up blowing holes through the concrete when it's of this age. And we've got some more standing water here in the line. Most of it's fairly minimal. You couple that with grout in the flow line and you can run into some issues, especially if you're putting things down the line that should not be going down there, like paper towels and stuff like that. And I think a lot of this standing water is purely because of the excess pipe grout. Once you get away from it, the water dissipates. So it doesn't even appear to be a gradation issue. It looks like it's the pipe grout damming up the sewer pipe. Most of it's fairly minimal, but you get enough of it back to back and you can get debris collecting in the sewer line. Now on the left side of the screen there, and the right side, I think we may have dirt coming into the pipe. That's kind of what it looks like. Which, again, I mentioned earlier, is often caused by earthworms tunneling in and out of the sewer line. They'll kind of push dirt in and out, but it does usually mean you have a compromised joint. Anyway, based on the amount of debris I'm seeing in the line here, the line is functioning. It's not functioning properly, as we've got none of the standing water is terribly significant. Most of it's sitting around 1/16 to 1/4 of an inch, but we have that in throughout most of the sewer line. I would say 50% of it or so, at least the concrete portion, at least 50%, if not more than that, has some level of standing water, but every single pipe joint has excess grout at it right in the flow line. And it also appears that some of those joints have had pipe grout break free. Now, what I would recommend is forwarding the video to a drain clean professional to see how best that can be cleaned out of the line. Like I said, older lines like this, it can be very hard on the pipe to actually jet them. That amount of water pressure can start blowing holes through the pipe walls. But the amount of aggregate rock that's showing through too is also concerning. The line's showing a lot of age. Now, it would be my recommendation here to fully update. Although it is still functioning, it is right at the end of its lifespan. And we've got a little standing water here in the crawl space. It's pretty minimal though. It's only a couple feet of pipe here with. And we'll try and measure this water here if we can. Right there, it's about a ½ inch of standing water. And at that point, we're at about, now it's still about a ½ inch there. It's just because the camera was pulling up out of it. Now that is not terribly concerning. Now I'm gonna go home and review the video from my computer and really take a good look at it and come up with some recommendations and get off the rooftop here. I have not been able to map the line out. This is one of those lines that if you were to do an update to it, because the pipe grout's in there, it really doesn't give you that option. You can talk to some lining people to see if an epoxy liner would actually smooth any of those joints out where all the excess pipe grout is at. If not, you're looking at either, to do an update, you probably have to either bore a line in or trench it up traditionally that way. Anyway, so far that would be my recommendation. At this point, we have, it's somewhere around adequate flow to the main, and that is entirely dependent upon the amount of debris going down the line. It's not a terribly big house. This type of situation here becomes exacerbated when you have a lot of people in the house, a lot of volume of debris going down the line. That's where the pipe grout and the standing water can become an issue.